Nikon Education Foundation presents 7 weeks free data analytic training. In these 7 weeks, you're going to learn Excel, MySQL, and Power BI. Also, you'll be getting a certificate of completion by the end of this course. Join us on this journey of becoming a certified data analyst.
Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you to the second day of the training. I hope you have your laptop with you and beside you and your notepad. So yesterday we stopped at consolidation or consolidate. Now today we are going to look at few formulas in Microsoft Excel. Okay, can you all see my screen? Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, good. Now, let's look at this particular table. We have average, we have sum, count A, count blank, mean, and max. All these are function in Excel. Function in Excel. Now, let's say I want to calculate the average. I want to know the average of this number. Sorry, let me put 15 here. And let's say I want to know the average on this particular row, column A, row 5 to row 15. Let's say I want to know the average. I can call out the function and then input the function to get the average here. Now, one can say I can calculate it via my calculator. Yeah, it's true. You can calculate it via your calculator. But what if you find yourself in a situation whereby you have like 1,000 rows? Are you going to be calculating it one after the other? Besides, let's say you have an interview and you are given something like this, as simple as this. Now you take your calculator, you use your basic knowledge of average to get the answer here. And when they are checking your work, they notice that you did not use the formula, you did not use the function, that you did it manually. You know you've already disqualified yourself. So that's why it is good to always learn the basics function in Microsoft Excel. Now we are going to call out average here. We are going to call out average. I will say equals to average. This is my average. And then I'm going to copy down, close my bracket, and I will hit enter. So my average here is 55. My average here is 55. Now, let's say I want you to turn off your microphone, your mic. Please turn it off to avoid distraction. When I need your response, I'm going to say it here, then you will respond. But for now, since I don't need your response for now, please turn it off. Hello, please turn it off. Okay, now let's move to sum. We've been using sum. We used forms a few days ago. I think we still used it yesterday. So I think we are conversant with sum, right? Now let me use it again. Now I want to get the total rows. I want to sum this particular row. And I will call out my function. Remember I said you always start with equal to sum. I'll click my sum and then I'll copy down. I'll close my bracket, then I will hit enter. So the total here is 545. Count. What's the meaning of count? Now, when you hear count function count function will simply count. The word count, when you hear count, what's the meaning of count? Count means count. Count something. Count this thing. Count that thing. Now, here we want to count the number. We are not summing this time. We are counting. We are not summing. There's a difference between sum and count. When you say you are summing a particular row to get a particular result. Now, when you say you are counting, what you are doing is that you are counting the rows. You are counting the number that is inside each cell. That's the meaning of count. So you will just make the cell active equals to, type it out, count. As you are typing the count, it will pop out. Still looking for it, count. Now this is it, count. Then I tap it. The next thing is you copy down, and then you close your brackets. You hit your enter. Now this thing, I have 10 values on this particular row in each cell. I have 10 values on this particular row, one per each cell. If you count it here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I used count function to count the number of values I have inside this particular cell. So look at count A. Count A simply means you are counting the test. What are tests? This test, Benz, Toyota, Corolla. You are counting the test inside the row. So if I want to count all these tests inside this row, inside this particular column, what am I going to do? I'm going to use my function again, equals to count A. I want to call out the function count A. Yeah, this is my count A. Then I click, and I will copy down. I'll close my bracket. Now we hit my enter. I have 10 words inside this row, inside this column D. If you count it, it's also 10. So you will see that the both has a similarity, that is count and count A. From the word count, here I counted my number on each row. Here I counted my test on each row. So I got 10. I also got 10 here. Now count blank. These are the simple things you should know in Excel. You can write Excel test and see this kind. They can set an Excel test and bring this kind of thing. But if you don't know difference between them, you will find it very difficult to navigate through. Now look at count blank. When you hear count blank, the word count, don't forget count. You want to count something, then blank. What's the meaning of blank? Empty cell. Now if you look at my column, obviously you will see that before even applying my formula, you can just, if you count it manually, 1, 2, 3. I have 3 blanks. On this column E. So let's say I type 3. Am I correct? Yes, I'm correct. Why? Yes, we have 3 blanks. But the truth is that there is a function that you're supposed to use to do it without doing it manually. Or if you have thousands of blanks, will you be counting it one by one? No, if you take your time, you will get bored. So what will I use? Then I will use my count blank function. I'll call it out is equal to count blank. This is my blank. Then I'm going to select, I'm going to copy down, close, then hit my enter 3. So here I made use of my function. So if I want to detect that, oh, if I want to detect you that you you carry out the task manually, how will I know? What I will just do is that I will just hit the results you got. I will make it active. Then the formula will pop out. Then if I don't see anything here, then I've known that, oh, this guy have approached this thing manually. So now when I hit my results, I have been able to see that let's say let's say you are the one that do this, that I've been able to know that you used a function called count blank to get your results. So you didn't do it manually, you use the function. Now, minimum. When you hear minimum just means that it doesn't even have a definition self. From the word minimum. When you hear minimum, maximum. Minimum means the lowest number. Maximum means the highest number. What is the minimum number here? You can also see with your knowledge in mathematics, you already know what Excel is going to return back to us. Also here, what is going to return back to us. Now, let's say I want to use the formula equals to, well, not even let's say I want to use formula. Let me use the formula equals to mean. I double tap. Then I'm going to copy down again. Copy down. And then I'll close my brackets. Then I will hit my enter. Can you see my minimum number here on this column F is 1. 1. What is my maximum number here? No need to do it manually. Let's use formula as well. Equals to max. As I'm typing, it will come out. Max. Then I will copy down as well. Then I will close my brackets. Then I will hit my enter. This is the maximum number. Let me try to use separator here. So this 100,000. Let me remove the decimal. So this 100,000. Now, so far so good. We've applied average function, sum, count A, count blank, mean, and max. In case you don't know how to use the function, this is how to make use of this function in Excel. Now, let's move to this second table. Now, we have this particular table. We want to calculate the bonus. Now, we want to multiply this bonus by 2 and then get the total bonus. So, how are we going to go about this? We are just going to say equals to 2 multiply by this bonus. Then you hit your enter 8 and then you copy down. You just autofill, then you will get your results. So you wouldn't need to come and do the second one, third one. Once you do the first one, just autofill, then you get your results. Now something has happened. What is that thing? This is value. This is an error, right? Whenever you say something like this, it means you're on your own. Permit me to use that word. It means you're on your own. This is an error. Now, I told you that whenever you see this green shape, it means Excel is not seeing it as a value. It's seeing it as a test. This is an error. Why? Now, the reason why is this. When I autofill from this particular row down, now Excel used relative reference. So relative reference is the default setting of Excel. That is, Excel will look at the first number, the first task the first task you did, and then it will look at the pattern, and then it will have pattern to populate other rows. That's relative reference. You will see that when I autofilled, it gave me 2 times 2, 4, 2 times 3, 6, exact times 2 by 3, the other column, and column high. Now, when it got here, it doesn't know what to do any longer since it's exact default setting. It just gave us, I don't know what to do any longer based on my default setting. In order not to leave it empty, except put value. Now, Excel might have multiplied something to get this. Now, let's see how we can check our formula and let's see what has happened. Now, if I want to check my formula to check this error, let me you just select any cell here, just make it active your results, and then let's go to our formulas here. Remember the library here now. I've explained all this. Now, let me try to shoot this one here so that you can see very well. Now, let's check. Let me check. Let me press show formula. Now, this is what I did now. Look at my formula. Look at it. When I click show formulas, this is what Excel did. 2 multiplied by row I6. This is our I6 where you see 4. So 2 multiplied by, don't forget I said relative reference by default of Excel. This is what you are seeing. This is relative reference of Excel. So we are looking at how Excel did it. Now, Excel multiplied 2 multiplied by 4, 8. That is 4 is on column high inside cell I6. Same thing, 2 multiplied by 2. The 2 is column I, row 7, row 8, row 9, row 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, 15. Now, when Excel got to 16, Excel went to multiply 2, this same 2, multiplied by this empty cell. You know, there is no figure here. This is just total bonus. Now, Excel went to multiply it. Hence, we got value. Why? Because you can't multiply number by, you can't not multiply value by text. It's not, that's an error. So Excel went ahead to do it this way. This is an error. This is an error. Well, we'll say that Excel is actually right in the sense that that is the default setting of Excel. Now I've known that I will be the one to correct it now. Good. Now to go back, I will just hit my show formula again. I will just hit my show formula once. That will take me back here. So what I'm just going to do is that I will just delete it since it's not part of what I want to see. So I will just say equals to sum, and I will copy down, close the bracket, and then hit my enter. So the total sum is $60 of all my bonuses. Good. So now let's move to, that's relative reference in Excel. Let's move to this particular table, subtraction. So you've known how to use multiplication in Excel now. Now let's move to subtraction. How can we make use of subtraction in Excel? Good. Take for instance, I want to get my profit here. Now, if I will get my profit, that is going to be revenue minus sales price. When I minus revenue from my sales price, it will give me my profit. Then when I'm done with that, then I will autofill. I will autofill to populate the rest. So when I do this, Excel has used relative reference for me. Now, let me try to work it out. Equals to revenue minus sales price. Hit my enter. $400. That's the profit. Then I will just autofill. Then I will get the remaining answer. Now, if you look at this same thing, this was what occurred here that I corrected. There is no need to go and check the formula any longer. I just showed you the formula so that you can know where to check that. Whenever you are using, you are performing a task and you want to check maybe something went wrong, then you want to check the formula, what Excel has done to bring that thing. You can just come to show formulas and then you check it here. But now I'm not coming here because of time. I've showed you the other time, so I'm not coming here again. So what I'm just going to do here is that I'm going to delete this thing. I'm going to remove it, and then I will I will do it in a proper way. Is equal to sum. Then I want to sum everything together. I will close my bracket. I will hit enter. So 1,503, my total profit. Interesting. Good. Now let's move. Let's look at the last table here. Let's look at the last table here. Now look at this particular table. I have profit actualized, I have sales boy, and I have commission. Now I want to give every sales boy 10% commission from the profit actualized each person. So that means if I'm going to give each person 10% commission, it means that I'm going to multiply 10 by this divided by 100. Then I'm going to get the commission. I'm going to get my commission for each sales boy. Now, how do I go by this? I will say equals to 10 multiplied by profit actualized divided by 100. Hit enter. 1,000. So that means Mitchell will receive 1,000 commission based on the profit actualized. How do I get the other commission? How do I get other commission? I will just autofill. I will just tap and autofill. Now, I've been able to see that Babs 20,000, 10% of 20,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, like that. Now, you will see zero here. Remember when I showed you here, I showed you how it happened here, what Excel did. Now, same thing has actually happened there. Now, Excel, this is also an example of relative reference in Excel by default. By default, relative reference in Excel by default. That's the default setting of Excel. Now, let's look at another thing here. There is something I want to show you here before we leave this material. Now, I'm going to show you something that I'm going to explain. Follow me. Let me delete and let me show you something. Now, I'm not going to type it manually this time. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to come over here, select this, come over here, select this, and do it in another way. Let's start. Equals to this thing, this cell, multiply by this cell, divided by this cell. Enter. Wow. I got my 1000. Good. Let me try to autofill and see if I will still get the same commission. Look at it. Error. Can you see error? Yeah, this is an error. What happened here? The other time I did it, I picked my cell, the first cell manually. I pick the second cell manually, the third cell manually. The second cell, the formula, the cell name, and then this one manually, and I got the result. This time I did not pick it manually. I I I I I selected my P3 and I selected my R3, and then I got the first one. The second, third, fourth, fifth error. Then something has happened. Well, now if you look at this thing like a triangle. I've always been saying it. This particular green shape. It means Excel is not seeing it as a figure value. This is seeing it, is reading it as a text. So when you see this kind of thing, just know that this is an error already. Now, what happened? This is it. Excel used relative reference by default to give me my commission, but at the end, it was an error. Let's see the formula. Let's check the formula and see how Excel approached it. Now, let's see. Excel, the first one I did, don't forget, this my P3, row 3, and then this my also row 3, R3. Please don't forget. Now, the P6 is we do the profit actualize. Now, the first thing Excel went ahead to do P3 multiplied by this one, P6 divided by this R3. Then this one, I got 1000, correct. Now, when Excel got to here, Excel went ahead to select P4, and there is nothing like P4 here. Don't forget I said relative reference. Excel went to use relative reference. Each rows. He jumped to another. Excel jumped into another row to pick P4. And if you look at P4, there is nothing like P4. It ought to be P3. But Excel went to use P4. Multiply by P7. Our P7, correct. Then divided by R4, the next row. The R4, the next row, column R, the cell R3. Now, R4. Excel went ahead to pick row 4. Row 4 of column R. It divided it. Hence, we got the error. Same thing. Excel went to P5. Multiply by P8. P8 is correct. R5. There is nothing like R5. P6. R6. P7. R7. P8. R8. P9, R9, like that. Look at the total reward. He went to do he went to do total reward as well. Now, this is an error. This is an error. But that's just default setting of Excel. Default setting of Excel. Now, so we are the one that will now use our own. We will now be the one to use our knowledge to correct this. Let me go back to the tax, to the table. I will click show formula again. Now that we've detected what Excel did, that Excel went ahead to use relative reference. So it means that what I need to do is that means what I need to do now is to use another reference called absolute reference. Absolute reference. So that means if I use absolute reference, then I won't see something, I won't see this error again. Now, let me delete everything here and do it again. Now, I'm going to say equals to this same cell. Then I'm going to fix this cell. When I say I want to fix, what I'm saying is that I want to lock it. I want to lock this particular cell. So when I lock this particular cell, Excel will not use relative reference any longer. It will go ahead to use absolute reference to execute the task for me. Now, P3, then I will lock it by pressing my F4. Multiply by. Before I continue, now if you look at your laptop, we have different laptop. We have different laptop. We have different laptop. Yes. Now, if you look at your laptop, at times, if you press F4, it will not work. It will not work because of your because of the model of your laptop. Now, if you want to use F4, you will just press your Fn. You won't press it, you won't release your hand, and then you will now press your F4. The command will obey you. But if you press F4 alone, it might not work. On some laptop, it will work. Like my own, I just press my F4 and it worked. Some it will not work. If you press F4, if it doesn't work, if you notice it doesn't work, just click your Fn, then your F4, then it will work. Okay, good. And then I times this number divided by this cell. Now, I'm going to lock it now. Why? Because I'm referencing a particular cell. I'm referencing a particular cell. So I'm going to fix it as well by locking. Then I'm going to click my F4 again. Then I will hit my enter 1000. Now, I'm going to autofill it now. Can you see now? I got my results. Just ignore this one. We'll correct this one manually. Now you've seen that I got my results here, 2000, 3000. Now, let's say I did not fix it. I'm going to be, if I fix one and I didn't fix one, it's possible that I still get error, but fixing the two will be better. So I logged this and I logged this, and then I got this. I got my right answer. Let's check the formula and see. Then I'll come to my formula again. Show formula. Now, look at it. The first thing here, I logged the first row. So I forced Microsoft Excel to use absolute reference to execute the task. So if you look at it now, you will see that P3 multiplied by P7 divided by R3, 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 R3. I was able to achieve it by locking. So let me go back to my formula. I will hit it once. And to go back. So now I'm going to delete this 0 and use my sum. Open my brackets and then copy down, close my bracket, then hit my enter. So the total commission is 55,000. The total commission is 55,000. So far so good. I used relative reference, the default setting of Excel. I also used absolute reference. So whenever you want to make use of absolute reference, you will need to, whenever you want to use absolute reference, by venture you want to reference a particular cell, what you need to do is you just use F4 to log that cell and then continue. Some people might want to ask me a question that, how do I know that how do I know that this is what I ought to use is relative, absolute reference or relative reference? Okay, good. Relative reference is default setting of Microsoft Excel. Now, when you notice that you are working on a task and you do not see the results you want to see, the result you want to see, you are not seeing that result. Now, you can just come to check the formula and see what has happened. Are you getting me now? So when you need to use absolute reference, when you notice that the relative reference is not giving you that result, that is, Excel has used the relative reference, which is not what you want to see, then there is a need for you to make use of absolute reference. So when I make use of my relative reference and I notice that I still did not get the results on the row, then that means I will need to look at it again and fix that particular cell by locking using F4. Using F4. Now, like this kind of these tasks that I did, the first one I did that I didn't pick this cell and I didn't pick this cell. I only did it manually. Is it allowed? Can I do it that way? Yes, you can. You can. You can do it like that. You can do it manually. But I just want to show you how absolute reference work. The way it used to work, I just show you. I just said I should show you how it works. And also, you will see that at times Microsoft Excel will be the one to even lock the cell on your behalf. I will show you example of that one. That you don't need to even disturb yourself. Excel will just lock it and you continue your work. And at times you lock. Now, let's move to another function, subtotal. Now, subtotal function. What is subtotal function? It returns a subtotal in a list or database. It returns a subtotal in a list or database. For instance, let me use subtotal function, subtotal. Now look at subtotal. When I opened the bracket, when the bracket opened automatically, I saw different function: average, count, count A. Remember count? Remember count A, max, mean, product, different function. Now, what I want to do here is this. I want to sum. I want to sum this particular table. Remember this table, I have formatted this table. I formatted this table. Now, I will just come down here, pick my sum, comma, and then my number. I'm going to copy down and then close the bracket, then hit my enter. This summation that I use sum. Now, the total sum here, I got 54,615. So I can use subtotal. This is my subtotal, 54,615. But inside that function, there are loads of function. We can also see average. I can also get the average profits actualized for each month. I can count number. I can even get the maximum. I can know the maximum. I can also know the minimum. I can know the standard deviation if I want to. I can also use my variance, get my variance. And there are also more function. Now, you remember I told you that I formatted this table. Now, I want to show you something again. Let me try to filter this table. Now, let's say I want to get the average profit. Let's say I want to get the average profit of the first quarter of the year. Average profit of the first quarter. That means the first quarter is going to be January, February, and March. Now, I will just come down here. I will uncheck and I will check in again. I will check in my February. Then also, I will check in my March. And I will hit my OK. Now, the profit for the month of January, February, March, the total was 3,500. Now, let me try to get more insight from this table. I can click here and say, okay, what is the average profit here? I can just click my average profit here, then I will know my average profit for the first quarter. For the first quarter. For the first quarter. So I was able to do this because I formatted this table in order for me to have my filter button, because I want to have more insight to this particular table. Now, I'll come down here again. I will click the filter. Now, this is the average profit for the whole year, January till December. Let's say you want to, let me go back to my son. Now, let's say you want to get the maximum. You can just hit your maximum, then you get your maximum number. If you look at it here, we have 30,000. It was actualized in December, $30,000. So you can use subtotal to calculate your rows, and then functions embedded inside subtotal, because it was when I used subtotal function that I saw all this. The function that is inside this subtotal is a function, but there are other function that they put inside subtotal that you can also make use of. So you can also make use of them and get more insights to your data. Let me leave it. Let me sum them back, and let me just leave it here like this. So now I want us to move to another material. Now you've been able to use, you know how to use subtotal function, right? Good. Now let's move to large. Now, what is a large? Large is also a function in Microsoft Excel that we can use to get top number. Take for instance, let's say I want to get the first 5 top numbers from this table. I can make use of my function called large. How do I go about it? Good. The first thing I'm going to do is that I'll first number this. Our first number is 4, 5. Good. Now, then I will come here. I will write my large function is equal to large. Now it's asking me array. What's my array? My array is my table. Now what did I want to do? I want to return the top 5, top value from this table. I want Microsoft Excel to return back to us top values from this table. So I will say equals to large, and then I'm going to select my table like this. I'm going to put my comma sign. So it's asking K. The K is going to be this particular figure. I'm going to close my bracket. I'm going to hit enter. Then I will autofill. Can you see? Now, if you look at it now, you see that I brought out top 5 numbers from this table. In other words, I can also say that I retrieved first top 5 numbers from this particular table. So if you look at 29,000, if you look at the first one, 29,941, you will see that you will find it here. You find it here, 29,000. You find it here with 2 revenues, 29,941. 28 as well with 4, 23,613. You will see it here with 3. So now I want to sum this particular column. To sum equals to sum. I click my sum, then I'll copy down, close my brackets, and hit my enter. Now this my sum. So I hello, hello. Okay. Now I got 132,332. Now, before moving to conditional formatting, I can use conditional formatting as well to get this particular number, these top 5 numbers. I can use conditional formatting to get this top revenue. How do I go about it? I'm going to select, I'm going to come to my home, I'll come to my conditional formatting, come to my top. Now, if you look at here, you will see top 10, top 10%, bottom 10 items, bottom 10, above average, below average. But we are not looking at that. We are just looking at the top 10. Then I will come down here. I will click. It has already given me my top 10, but I'm not going for the top 10. I'm going for the top 5. I want to get this exact number. So I'm going to change it here to top 5. Top 5. I'm going to, let me change the color to green. Then I'll hit my OK. Now, if you look at it, you will see that the same number here, you also see it here. I used conditional formatting to get it. I used conditional formatting to get all these numbers. Now, let's say you have a large table. You have a large table, and you were told to bring out the top 20 numbers from that table, or you were told to retrieve the top 20 numbers from that table. How will you go about it? Exactly, you will do it the way I did my own. You will just put 1, you will first name it, you first number it 1 to 20, and then you use your function, your large function, to retrieve the number. Now, can you also use conditional formatting to get it? Yes, you can. You will just do it the same way I did it. You will select and then go to your conditional formatting and follow the route top 20. It will give you the top 20. But there's going to be a limitation. And what is going to be the limitation? Now, the limitation is that, let's say you were told to sum after getting the top 10 or top 20, and the next instruction is that sum them. Now, how will you sum? Will you be picking them one after the other? Okay, January 22,000, you write. February, you are typing one after the other. You are inputting in data entry. You are doing the work of data entry. You are inputting. It will take your time after inputting everything. Now say, let me now sum. But the truth is that if you have used large function, after retrieving it in 2 minutes or 1 minute thereabouts, you just put your sum and you sum, then you get your answer. Are you getting me now? So you can use conditional formatting, but when it comes to summing, then there's going to be a limitation when you want to sum them. You got that? Good. Now, let's look at this table. Let's look at this table. Now, I want to use conditional formatting to format my table in such a way that Anyone that score above 50, I will format them. When you hear format, that is, I want to give it a particular color. So anyone that is below this number, leave it. The one that is above, something, format them. That's what I want to do. So how will I do this? I will come, before I do that, let me come back here. How can I clear my formatting? How can I clear this top 5 number that I formatted, that I use conditional formatting for here? You just come to your conditional formatting here, you click clear rules, and then you come to clear rules from selected cell, and you click. Good, it's no longer there. That's how to go about it. Now let me now come back again. Then I said, if I want to format this table in such a way that anyone that score above 50, format them. Anyone that score below 50, don't format them. That's the command I want to give Microsoft Excel. So how will I go about that? The first thing is that I'm going to select this particular row that I want to use conditional formatting on. Now, when you hear conditional just means that you are saying that if it fulfills this certain criteria, do this. If it doesn't fulfill this certain criteria, don't do this. That's just the meaning. Don't need to disturb yourself. If it fulfills this criteria, then do this task. If it doesn't fulfill this criteria, then don't do this. That's the meaning. So now I want to apply conditional formatting on this column. So I'll come to my conditional formatting again. Highlight says value. And I'll come to, we have greater than, we have less than, we have between, we have equal to, text that contain date occurring, then duplicate value. You can also use conditional formatting to get your duplicate value even from here. If adventure we have duplicate value, you can also use conditional. You just select everything, then you click your conditional formatting. But this time we are not looking at less than, between, equal to. You can play around that. But let's look at this. Is what I want us to look at: greater than. Now I want to format anyone that is greater than 50. I will click my 50. I will give it green. Click my OK. Can you see now? So Goldsmith Mark, exam score 70. James Stark, exam score 100. Distinction, excellent. So that means they are greater than 50. So I can just, when I see this material, I will, if you present it to me, I will know that, okay, the one you formatted, there are those that are above 50. Oh, okay. Whenever I see green, okay, I've known that, okay. These are the people that scored above average. Okay. You can do it that way as well. You can. So this is just a basic conditional formatting. So now let's look at a little advance of formatting. Now, let me clear this. Now, let's look at this cell. Let's look at this table. Now, I want to apply conditional formatting on this particular table. Now, see what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I want to say any bonus that is greater than or equals to 800 pounds. I want you to give it green color. I want you to format it. Anyone that is below, don't format. Anyone that is greater, format. Do you understand? Okay, good. Now let's see how we can go about that. The first, to use conditional formatting, I said you first select this. And then you come to your Excuse me, please. I'm coming. Okay, now, sorry for. Okay, now, after selecting this particular column, you come to your conditional formatting, and then you come to new rule. You come to your new rule. Now, you come to your use a formula to determine which cell to format. You click. Now, this is where I want to write my formula. Now, remember what I said? I said any bonus that is greater than any column, any row that is greater than or equals to this particular figure here, give it, format them, format that particular row. Anyone that is below, don't format. That's what I want to do. So now, follow me. I will say equals to B2 greater than equals to is equal to B2 greater than equals to, sorry, B7 is equal to B7 greater than equals to this particular cell. Now, before I proceed, remember I told you about Excel helping you to log, helping you to turn it to absolute reference. This is an example here. Can you see $2 sign? Excel logged it on my behalf. Have you seen that? So at times you wouldn't need to, at times you won't need to lock it. Excel will be the one to execute it. So Excel did it on my behalf. So I've seen it. So once I've seen this, there is no need for me to lock anything any longer. You know, I referenced this particular cell. Hence, Excel logged it because Excel knew that I referenced this particular cell outside. I referenced this cell inside another column. So Excel logged it. That's absolute reference. Good. Now, I'll come to my format, then I will format. You will come to your fill. You click your fill. Okay. Sorry, let me move this thing. Now, I want to use I'm looking for the color to select. Let me just use this yellow color. Good. And then I'll press OK. Then I'll press OK. Okay, sorry. There's a mix up here. Let me fix it again. Let me do it again. You pick, you select. That's the first thing. And then you come to your conditional formatting. Then you come to your new row. From your new row, you come down here and then you type your formula. Is equal to B2 greater than equals to this cell.
B7, please, not B2.
Oh, sir, B7.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So next you format and then let me give it the yellow color I said the other time. Good. And then you hit your OK. Then you hit your OK. Now, if you look at my results, thank you for correcting me. I appreciate.
Welcome, sir.
I went to choose this cell. Sorry. Okay, now look at it now. You will see that when I applied the conditional formatting, I got what I want to say. I got my results. Now this 800, that means it's equal to 800. 2000 is greater. 4000 is greater. 10,000 is greater. 1000 is greater. 3000 is greater. 5000 is greater. Then 1005 is greater. So that is how to make use of conditional formatting. You can also use, you can use some if, though we are not yet there, but let me just jump ahead of myself. Let me just show you something. Now, you can also use if function to get this result. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that when you hear conditional formatting and if conditional statement, they are similar. They are similar. They are similar. So I'm going to use if function here to still get this result. Now let me type. If you are not used to if function, don't worry. We are still going to get there. I want to jump ahead of myself to show you something. So if you don't get it, don't worry. We are still going to get there. Now is equal to if, open my brackets, logical statement. If this cell is greater than equals to this particular cell, then I'm going to pick this cell. I'm going to show you, I want to show you something. Two things I want to show you. You just follow me. Now, I will say, comma, value if true. I will say, if it is greater than equals to 800, value if true, I want true. Or let me use the color. I want yellow. It's not really yellow, but it will just show in front of the number that yellow. Good. Comma, value if false. Let me just say nothing. And I will close my brackets. Now, listen, let me quickly interpret this. Now, if you look at the conditional formatting that I did the other time, I only put equals to B7 greater than equals to this cell, and then I formatted it with yellow color. Now, when it comes to if statements, there is nothing of such, but instead, I will just say equals to if this particular cell, that is B7, is greater than and equals to this particular cell, comma, value if true, yellow, value if false, nothing. But when it comes to conditional formatting, there is no if, value if true, yellow. The one in conditional formatting, the value if true there is yellow, but you will not see anything like value if true, value if false. But your knowledge of if conditional statements will let you to see that, oh, wow. So value if true, yellow. I gave it yellow, and then I executed the task. But in if conditional statements, I put if true, value if true, yellow, value if false, nothing. Hit my enter. Oh, nothing. Can you see here? Nothing. That is, this cell is not greater than and is not equal to 800. Now let me try to autofill. You see that everything yellow, 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 yellow. Now, if you look at what I have just done now, you will see that there is an error. Why? Because We have 5, that means 500 is also greater than 800. That's yellow now. 220 as well, yellow. Don't forget that this is the correct one we did here. But now, Eze gave me, Eze return yellow, 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 yellow. Then, what is the reason? Why
You
yellow?
lock.
You didn't lock the cell.
Good, good. I love what all of you have. I love the response. I just want to test your knowledge. I want to test your knowledge. The reason is because I failed to lock the cell. I didn't fix it. I didn't make it absolute. Therefore, I got yellow, 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 yellow. So how do I go about that? Then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to delete my yellow. I'm going to delete everything. Then I will do it again. Say equal to, if this cell is greater than or equals to this particular cell I want to reference. Since I want to reference it, then I'm going to lock it by fixing it. I'm going to fix it. Then when I fix it, it means I've locked it. I'm going to select it. I'm going to lock it using F4, comma, value if true, yellow, comma, value if false, nothing, 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 and then I'll close my brackets and I will hit enter. Yeah, nothing. Now let me try to autofill and see. You see now? Now we can see that if you look at this cell, empty, nothing. Here as well, nothing. Here as well, nothing. Others, yellow, 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 yellow. So I'm just trying to tell you the similarities between conditional formatting and if conditional formatting. You can also use conditional formatting and you can use both together if you understand them very well. Conditional formatting, you can use formula or conditional formatting and then use logical statement as well to still get the same results. So they have similarity. They have similarity. Okay, good. Now let's move to another material. Let's move to test function. Test function in Excel. Now, look at this. Let's say I want to know the day. You know, this is just a date. All these are dates. Now, let's say I want to know the day, the month, and the year. Now, I can use a function called test is equal to test. Now, it's asking my value. Of course, this is my value, comma, it said format the test. Then I'm going to put I'm going to format the test, put quotation, and then put D, and then put another quotation, close the bracket, and then hit enter. Friday. So if you look at that date, 9/1/2023, if you can check, you can. If you want to check, you can. You will see that this day is actually Friday. If you check, you will see. Now I can just autofill and populate the other rows. Let's go to month as well. I'm going to follow the same route, the same routine. Equal to test, my value, this is my value, my comma, then I'm going to put M. Then I'm going to close my code, put another, sorry. I was going to put my quotation, then I will type my M 4 times. Close the quotation, put another quotation, then close the bracket, and then hit enter. September. So I can autofill to populate the rest. Now, let's move to year. You can also do the same to year. In fact, as I'm doing this, you can just quickly do it on your own. You can just type date, can type date, type month, and just practice it. Now let me do the year. For the year, equal to the same routine, test, and then the value. You come to your value, select, and then the year. That will be y. You close the you put the last quotation, you close, and you hit enter 2023. Then you can also autofill. Good. Now let's move to date formatting. Now remember, I was telling you during the introductory class, I was telling you that we can format our date. I said we can format our date, we can customize our date, we can use custom to customize a date. For instance, now this is a short date in Excel. I think I taught you that one last week. Short date in Excel. Now let's I want to change this one to long date. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to come here. I will come to my long date. Then I will click. This is a long date. Long date. Long date. This is how to change it to long date. Now let me go back to my short date again. Now, this is what I want to do now. I want to customize this my date. I want to customize this my such that 2023 will be first, followed by the month, and then followed by the day. So it will not be like this. Year will be first, and then second, third. Now that's custom. You want to use custom to format the dates. Now I will first select. Good. Remember I told you that you can right click and then come to your format cell like this. And you can also use this method, this date method, this aspect. But let's leave this aspect. Let's use this one this time. And then you see now, this is my date now. And then you come to your custom. You hit your custom. Now, I want to customize my date. I want year, followed by the month. And for this is an example of ones that has been formatted, customized, like D, date, MM. Now, it's like if I want to make use of this, I will just hit it. It will effect on my spreadsheet. But I want to do it, if I want to make use of hour, minutes, AM, PM, it will also effect, but I'm not using, I don't want. I want to customize my own date. I want to format it and do it in my own way. I want year first and I looked at all this option. I can't see what I want to do here. Then that means I will do it myself. So I will come down here, I will click, I will clear this. Then I will put I want the year to be first. And I will click my year like this. And then my months, I'll put my months M. Okay, let me use small letter. Y. Then I will put my months M. Then I will put my day. Then my day. I will hit my OK. Okay, can you see now? I've customized my date. Yeah, you can also say that you just formatted your date. This is not the date I have before. Then I changed the date. So I've just formatted this date. I use custom to do this. So you can customize, you can format your date in any way you want to format it. In fact, some people can even tell you to format the date that they don't want Nigeria, they don't want our own type of date, that they want UK date. That means you will go there to format it. So all these, they are part of data cleaning and transformation. They are part of data transformation. These are the things you need to learn, you need to know, so that when you get a project, you want to work on a project, you are told to to format the dates. Year should be false, month should be last, like that. Then you've known how to go about it. You want to format this, that. The one what I've been teaching you, you just look at what I've taught you, check the video, check your assignments, and then apply them, and you'll be able to carry out the project. You'll be able to carry out the project. Good. Now let's move to substitute. 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 Now look at this substitute. Now, if you look at this table, we have Julius, then we have percentage, and we have faith. We have Michael, we have percentage, we have James. This is not normal. This is unclaimed. We need to let's say we want to transform this data by removing this sign, this percentage. Let's get rid of it. How do we do that? Let's look at the definition. Substitute function helps to take away character that might want to bring error to our data. Now, let's use substitute function. Let's call it out equals to substitute type is asking the test. This is the test. Put your comma. What is the next thing? You put your space, your percentage, you put the percentage, put your quotation, put your quotation again, your comma, and then put another quotation, space, another quotation, and then close your brackets. Hit your enter. Don't bother about column C. Just leave column C. Don't bother about that one. Now, I've been able to get rid of this percentage from my cell. Now, I can populate the other rows. So just autofill and populate. Good. So this is I use substitute function. Let me just put it there so that we can see how I did it. Substitute A2, comma, quotation, percentage, quotation again, comma, quotation, and then quotation. Then I close my brackets and I hit it. Now, I still see some space here. I want to close the gap here from Julius Faith to Faith Evans. I still have some spaces here. I want to get rid of those spaces. Now, I can use another function called, let me just even ask. If you want to remove unwanted spaces from your data, please, everybody, on your mic and let me hear. If you want to if you want to remove unwanted spaces from your data, what is the function you are going to use?
Trim.
Eh?
Trim.
Trim, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right, thank you. You can off your mic or mute your mic. Okay, good. So I'm going to use now I'm going to use my trim here is equal to trim this, close the brackets, and then enter Julius Faith. So going to autofill. Now I love this data. Now I've cleaned this data, I've organized this data. Now I love the way it is now. I love the way it is now. I used two function. I used two function. I used substitute function to get rid of the percentage because I don't want it. And I also use string to remove the unwanted spaces. So now I'm going to give you an assignment. You get your assignment tomorrow, and this time you are going to make use of find and replace. I'm not going to do that one because of time. You are going to make use of, you are going to use find and replace. Find and replace to get rid of the character here. You will use find and replace to remove this thing. Now, instead of using substitute, you will use find and replace. Or I might do two assignment on it. One, you will use substitute method, and the other one you are going to use find and replace. Find and replace. Don't forget, when you hear replace, find, you find and replace. You are not replacing with anything. So when you want to use the function, when you say find your percentage, then replace. Just don't put anything there. If you put something there, it will another thing will reflect here. So that's the assignment. I'm going to give you assignment on it. You are going to use find and replace. So I'm not going to do that one. So let's move now. Let's move to transpose. Transpose. Transpose is a feature in Excel. This is what I'm reading. Transpose is a feature in Excel that can be used to turn a vertical table to horizontal. Vertical table to horizontal. Now, let's say I want to make this stuff, this data, employer name, employee name, job status, salary, row 5 to row 15. I want to put them here. I want them to become my column header. I want them to become my column header. Column header. So instead of me to type them one after the other, that is employer name, employee name, job status, salary, I will be typing it manually. It will take my time. I can use a function called transpose to arrange them accordingly. That is employer name, employee name, everything will be column A, column B, column D, and column E. Now, let's see how we can do that. And the first thing you are going to do is you are going to select the table. You are going to select the table. So you will select this table and then you copy it by pressing Ctrl C. And then the second thing you are going to do is that you are going to make this set active. You want it to start from column A, row 1. And then we'll come here, you will click, you come to paste special. You click. And then when you get to paste special, you will find your transpose. These are transpose here. You click your transpose here. And you click your OK. Can you see now? So you can just work on your column header one after the other. Okay, good. So now I've been able to use transpose method to populate column A to column K. I use transpose method to populate column A to column K, and then you can just delete this table because of time. This is a manual table. This is a grid. I use this particular feature. So because of time, I won't erase it because of time. Just leave it. So you can then begin to populate the table. Remember, let's say you want to input data in. Let's say you have some data that you want to input here from row 2 to row 100. Now that you've been able to use your transpose, then you can just select it this way, go to your form, your data entry form, and then begin. When you click it, it will show this header, and then you start inputting your data. Okay, good. Now let's move to line graph. Let's move to line graph. Sorry, I did this today. Let me delete it, and then let's do it afresh. Now, we want to make use of line graph. We want to make use of line graph. Now, let's say that I want to have another insight to this particular data in such a way that I will see the trend via curve, via graph, via chart. That is, I don't want it to roll like this. I want it in and I want to visualize it using line graph. That is something that I can see physically, I can see with my eyes, and then see the trend of the revenue per year. Then I can use line graph to achieve that. Follow me. The first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to select everything here. Then I'm going to come to my insert and come to your line graph, and then you click. Now look at this. This is a chart design. That is, I want to design my charts. I want to design this chart, but I'm not designing these charts. I'm not. I don't want to use any of them. And this one is format. If I want to format this chart, also I'm not formatting. But let's continue with our work. Now, I will expand this particular chart for better view. I'm going to expand it. Okay, now let me try to, sorry, I think I will need to cover this stuff a bit so that we can have a better view. Okay, good. Now, this is my chart. This is my line graph. Now, look, if you look at this number 1 to 32. What's the meaning? What's the meaning of this 1 to 32? Well, you don't need to cram anything. This 1 to 22 signifies your column, your row, sorry, your all the rows here from row 1 to the end point. 1 to 32. That means we have 32 rows from 1 to 32. That's the meaning. And then I want to do something on this graph. I'll click here. You can put your title here, chart title. Let's say, they permit me to just use line graph. Let me just use line graph. Sorry, I just want to use line graph. Permit me to use it. Line graph, that's the title. I just want to use line graph as the title. Now, I can come down here to format to continue work on my graph. Now, look at grid. When you hear grid lines, this is meaning this particular line, this line, they are grid. I want to remove the grid line, then I will uncheck. Also, I want to remove the legend. I will uncheck as well. Now, I want to put label on the data for better view. My data label, I'll put it here. Good. Now, can I make use of up and down bar? Let me make use of up and down bar. Yeah, I can make use of up and down bar. Now, I want to expand this data, this chart a little bit. Okay, good. Now, before I interpret my data, I still want to do something here. I want to format this particular bar. I'll do it this way, and then I can come to my format to do it here, but I don't want to use that route. I don't want to pass through that route. I'm going to use this route. I'm going to give it this color. Good. Now, last thing I want to do on this graph, I want to bold my revenue. I'll select and then I'll bold. I'll bold here. Now look at my graph. Look at my graph. You see I have a curve here. Then through the curve, I can see the trend of my revenue for each year. Like 1990, it was $100,000. 1991, it jumped up. 1992, it jumped up. 93, 94, 95. Can you see that? Based on the data, as the revenue is increasing, we see that my bar chart or column chart is also increasing. Can you see the trend? Can you see the trend? Can you see the trend? Now, year 1999, the revenue dropped to 420,000 US dollar. In 2000, it increased to 460,000. 2001, it increased to 500,000, 600,000, 600,000. Now it dropped here again. It dropped here again. In 2005, it dropped to 450,000. Year 2006, it dropped. 2007, it increased. 2008, it increased again. 2009, it went to $700,000. 2010, 750. 2011, $800,000. Like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. Yeah, the highest revenue. We realized highest revenue in the year 2022, and it was $1 million. $1 million. And the lowest revenue, we realized that one in the year 1990, and it was $100,000. So this is how you can make use of your line graph. You can also format this line graph. You can still format it any way you like. You can also format it any way you like. Now, I can also filter this line graph. Do you know I can filter this line graph? I can filter this line graph in such a way that, let's say I just want to look at just 4 years. I want to look at the trend in 4 years in some particular year, maybe 1999, 2000, 2002. I can format this line graph. Now, I can come down here and filter it this way. I said format, sorry, filter. Just click your filter button, and then anyone you want to see. For instance, now, let me uncheck everything, and then I want to see from 1994 to 2001. That will be from row 4 to row 9. That will be 4. I will check in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Then I will apply. Can you see now? So I've been able to see via my line graph the revenue that the company made in 1993, 1994, 1995 to 1999. So it was when we got to 1999 that we saw a decrease. We saw a decrease in the revenue in the year 1999. So this is how you can make use of your line graph. Just select and then go to insert, come down here where you see recommended charts, click the drop down list, the drop down arrow, and select this line, this chart, or this. Just select this and then hit your enter, so you get your graph, and then you can begin to interpret your data. Good. Now let's move to Sparkline. Let's move to Sparkline. Let's move to Sparkline. Sparkline. What's Sparkline? Sparkline is a chart that can be used to know the trend in our data. Now, look at this table. We have January, February, March, April, May, June to November. Now, let's say that we want to have a chart here. We want to have a chart here. We want to have a chart here. We also have it. Want to have it. That is, we want to see this record in form of a chart. We want to see this record in form of a chart. Then we can make use of our Sparkline. How do we go about that? We select this particular cell, you make the cell active, then you come to your line. Now it's asking us, now look at the location here. Remember this dollar sign. Excel automatically lock this particular cell. So it's asking us data range. Let me try to move this thing here. Data range now. Select here. Then you select the first one. You stop here. Then you hit enter. The next thing is okay. Can you see? So this is my chart. Let me try to see if I can enlarge it. Good. Now we've been able to see that we've been able to see this figure in form of a chart. So I make use of my Spark line. So now let me try to look at here. You will see that this thing is active. This particular tab is active. If I click, it's saying that I can format my chart using different color, but I'm not formatting anyway. I'm not using it, so I don't need it. So I want to know, I want to put chart here, and I also want to put chart here. So I will just long press and autofill to populate it. And I've been able to populate the rest of the column. So this is how to make use of sparkline in Excel. So now let's look at another function called rept. Rept. Rept function brings visual. Rept function brings visual to our data. Now, how do we make use of rept function? For instance, let's say I want to put a column, a bar chart here, or a column chart. Let's say I want to put a column chart here. A column chart, I want to put it here. Then I want everything to have a column chart. A column chart, so that when I see this data, you don't need to tell me. I've known that this is actually, you did this via visualization. This is a visualization. This is a visualization table. Why? Because you went ahead to populate column C with column chart in order for me to be able to interact with the table. So let's how we can use sparkline in the rept is equal to rept. Is it here? You press. It's asking us test. Test. What will be our test? Well, first thing is you put your quotation, and then you put your capital letter I, put your quotation again, then put your comma. It now asks us, Excel is asking us number times. How many times do you want your column chart to appear? I want 25 times. Then I will come down here, I will click, and then I will close my bracket, and I will hit enter. Now, if you count this chart, this is 21 column chart. This 21. Now, I can also populate my table. Instead of me to be doing it one after the other, I will just autofill to populate the rest. Can you see now? This is a column chart. So I got this by the use of rept function. So can you see now? So if you look at this data now, you look at my table, then you can tell that wow, this is a data. Wow, wow, this you have just visualized this data. Then I can relate this data. Yeah, I can relate. I can relate because I've seen that mechanical engineering. Wow, wow. Look at medicine 100. Wow, this is the highest score, followed by this, followed by nursing, and then you can relate with the data. Good. Now let's move to another material. Oh, time is fast spent. Oh, okay.
Why you don't
What do I
follow?
what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Okay. I'm looking at the time. Okay, so we are going to do because of time. Someone said, you say your head is full already. Okay, this is what we are going to do because the material we want to enter now is a little bit brain tasking. Is logical statements is a little bit brain tasking. So I wouldn't want us to enter. I planned that we are going to run through the logical statements and then we move to data validation. We just the basic aspect and then we'll now move to the advance of data validation today as well. But it's like I will not be able to touch it again because it will take my time. All right. Can you see my screen now? And are you hearing my voice?
Yes, we can. We can see your screen and we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this will be the last material we'll be looking at today. Now, let's quickly look at this and end the class. Now, this is what I want to do here. For those that doesn't know logical statement, this is how to go about it. Now, for instance, when you hear logical statement, conditional statement, when you hear conditional statement, then that is when if comes in. When you hear if and if this thing and this and this, if you do this thing, I'm going to give you this thing. If you don't do this thing, then I'm not gonna give you this thing. That's the meaning of if. So when you now hear conditional, if conditional statement, it's still the same thing. You are right, you want to carry out a task and you want to do it in such a way that if this person fulfill this criteria, give this person this. And if this person did not fulfill this criteria, give this person nothing. So it's condition. There is a conditional statement. So you are expected to write your statement. You don't want to type it, you will write it and then you put it. Microsoft Excel will be guiding you, but you don't want to be writing the conditional statement. In other words, you cannot just write rubbish. You cannot just write rubbish. You will write something that you know that when people read it, they will know that you are driving out a point. No, you just okay. If just no, you will write it. You will write your statement in such a way that it will be meaningful, that people can relate with it and they can understand what you are trying to say. And don't calm. Don't calm. Please don't calm. Just look at what I'm going to do. Don't calm anything. Excel will guide us and we'll follow the route together. Let's see. Is equal to now before I type, let me interpret what I want to my statement. I want to say if column A, this is my column A, the A2, column A2 row 1 is equal to orange. If it's equal to orange, then give it vitamin C. If column A row 1 is not equal to orange, then give it other vitamin. That is my statement. So I'm going to write the statement here. I write if.
Is it to go 1 or go 2?
Here now, the way I'm typing inside column B. I'm typing inside column B row 2 now. Are you seeing it? Okay, now look at the logical test, and it's asking what is my conditional statement? What is my logical test? Well, my logical test is if this cell A2 is equal to orange. I'm going to put it inside quotation. Is equal to orange. Then he's asking, now I will put my comma. He's asking me value if true. Well, if it's equal to orange, what should we give it? Well, I want it to give anyone that has orange, give them vitamin C. I'm going to put my vitamin C also in quotation. Vitamin C. Close, put another quotation and then another comma. He's asking us again, what if it is false? What should we return? Well, just return other vitamin. Other vitamin. I'll put it in quotation. I will also put it in quotation, and then I'll close my brackets. Now, have you seen the logical statement? Now, if A2 is equal to orange, give it vitamin C, value true. If it is not equal to orange, give it other vitamin, enter. Can you see? This one is orange, vitamin C. Let's see the other ones. Can you see? Other vitamin is not orange, vitamin, orange. Watermelon, vitamin, other vitamin. Vitamin C, other vitamin. Vitamin C, watermelon, vitamin C, other vitamin, other vitamin. So these are you can make use of your logical statements. Lastly, let me quickly show you the last one. Let's say you want to make use of it using your interface. Let's say I want to make use of this thing with using my interface. Then I will come to my formulas. I will come here, logical. Then I will hit my if. Then I will come here. Now, this time I will not need to put if. I will not need to put if. I will just say A2. Can you say is already typing it? A2 equals to orange. I'll put orange. If A2 equals to orange, value true. If it is true, give it vitamin C. What if it is false? Give it other vitamin. Okay, now we'll click my okay. Can you see vitamin C? Then I will autofill. Same results. So you can use your cell. You can also use the inbuilt formula. So I think I will end the class now. But before I end the class, let me, as usual, let me quickly recap. Today, we looked at few functions in Microsoft Excel. Here, we're able to look at different functions: average, sum, count, max, mean, max. We also look at absolute reference and then relative reference. Now, we looked at subtotal. We looked at large. We looked at advanced formatting. We looked at test function. We looked at substitutes. We use substitute here, and then we use stream here. We looked at transpose, and then we looked at line graph. We looked at sparkline. We looked at rept, and then we looked at a logical statement. Okay, so thank you for the audience. Thank you for the class. I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. See you next week. Thank you.